Hello everyone, Helen here. How are you today? I hope you're okay. And you can see I am in my craft room today. And if you haven't been here before, I often chat here from my craft room. I live in Durham in the northeast of England, and I just love sharing all sorts of things with you, really. Mostly crafty based, but sometimes other things as well. And actually today I haven't got a lot of crafty things to share with you. I'm really sorry about that. Normal service will be resumed soon, I hope, but yes, there are reasons for that. My time has been occupied in other ways, and one of the ways is that I have been spending quite a bit of time just thinking, actually, and writing, and I'm going to share those thoughts with you, my thoughts about just the upcoming year. And I have a couple of fun things to share with you at the end as well. but really, a lot of my time at the moment, when I would normally be crafting, has been taken up with the big task of trying to reorganise my craft room. So I started back in November trying to take control of the mess, because I just wasn't enjoying being in here anymore. It had become overwhelming, the amount of mess in here. There's stuff lying around that didn't have homes, and it was just, it really got to me. And so I took lots of people's advice, and I started doing tidying in short bursts, in like 10 minutes at a time or 20 minutes. And it was starting to have an effect. And then we got to December, and that all went out of the window because a lot of my time was just taken up doing Vlogmas. So I got to the end of December and I thought, I've really got to do something. I've got to invest a lot more time in it. And once you start on that job, well, yes, it eats up an awful lot of time. But I am beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And so I will share with you what I've been doing in here as soon as I am at the point where when I've got somewhere with it. So that will be for another time. But I say that just explains why I haven't really got lots to show you. So I have been doing a bit of crafting. The only two things that I'm working on at the moment are the Attic 24 canal boat blanket crochet along, and I'm enjoying that, and I will let you know my progress. Hopefully next week when I chat to you, I'll be showing you a few things that I've been doing, or at least a few decisions that I've made. And the other thing is the Noel 9-patch blanket, and I really have got nothing else on the go at the moment, or nothing else that I'm spending time on. I have got some other things that I've started, but they've just been sitting, having a rest for the moment while I sort this craft room out. So anyway, but as I said, one of the things I've been doing is just some thinking. You get to this point in the year and thinking, right, what am I going to do with this year? And so my first reaction to having those thoughts in my head is just to write them all down. And when I finished doing quite a bit of writing down my thoughts and putting them into some kind of order, I thought you might be interested to hear what I've been thinking. You might not be interested, but some of you might even find it helpful. So I'm going to share those with you, but rather than me just trying to remember all of my thoughts and ramble on in a disorganised way, I thought I'd use my notes to help me and show you some nice video while I'm busy chatting to you. So most of the video that you'll see is not in the least bit relevant to what I'm saying, but they're just little bits of video and photos that I've taken in the last couple of weeks of my daily walks. So you'll see lots of frost and snow and blue skies and outlines of trees, just some lovely things. And occasionally I have a bit of relevant video to show you as well. So yes, I'm going to sit and chat to you all about my thoughts. I love winter and I love Christmas. And I love having a point in the year which we can use as a marking point to take stock of our lives and reconsider where we are and where we might want to go in the coming months. But I've come to realise that it's not something that I can do in a hurry. I suppose I could quickly jot down a couple of resolutions or targets in a notebook and be done with it. But that isn't good enough for me. It doesn't satisfy my personal need to analyse things and think carefully about how I'm feeling about everything and what I want to change or keep the same or start afresh or begin anew. And I realise that there will be many of you listening to me who just sail along happily through life, dealing with things as they occur and not worrying one bit about analysing or assessing how things are going. And that is completely fine. And actually, for most of the time, that's what I'm like too. But I do love to spend some time really thinking hard about what I'm doing and checking in with myself to ensure that I'm using my time in a way that's both enjoyable and beneficial. Lots of people straight after Christmas feel a great desire to clear away all signs of Christmas, perhaps even before the new year has begun and at the latest during the first few days of January. And although for many people they're just following convention, doing what they think they should, some people do make a conscious decision to prepare for the new year with a clean slate and an uncluttered home so that they can begin to look ahead into the coming year, all of which makes good sense, and I do understand that. However, that approach isn't one that suits me. What I want more than anything is to take my time to mull things over, not pressuring myself to come to any conclusions without a lot of deep thought. And I definitely don't want to clear away all the pretty sparkly things that have helped to brighten the place up during December and which bring me lots of joy. It's not that I want to cling on to all things Christmassy and somehow stop time from moving forward. I do put away most of the decorations and take down the cards, but the Christmas tree and its lights stay with us while the dark evenings continue, all the way through January until Candlemas Eve on the 1st of February. If you were watching me at this time last year, you'll know that our Christmas tree becomes a winter tree. I take off all of the overtly Christmas-themed decorations like Santas and candy canes and so on, and replace them with snowflakes and snowballs and birds and animals and such like. I do feel that during these first few days and weeks of the year, my body is telling me that it just wants to hibernate, that my breathing wants to slow down, and that I don't want to feel rushed into any decisions. For many years now, December has been one of the busiest months of the year for me. As a teacher, it was the term where I had to take charge of producing Christmas plays and concerts, and school was such a busy time with all sorts of other things, alongside my home preparations for Christmas. Even when the holidays came, I seemed to always spend a good deal of my time in the kitchen, baking and preparing special meals and entertaining guests, that it wasn't until December ended that there was finally time to take a breath and pause a while. And when I was working full-time in school, there was very little time to relax before a new term had to be prepared for. Now that my time is much more flexible, I have the luxury to take as long as I need to think about how I want to change or improve my life, and how I'm going to ensure that I can get the balance just right, and perhaps even decide that much of what I do can happily stay the same. So I now think of January as a time of gathering my thoughts, so that by February I will have some idea of where I'm heading. I gather my thoughts from all sorts of places and in different ways. I like listening to what other people might be saying at this time of the year, such as the lovely Sarah from the Yarnmugs podcast, who's currently doing a daily vlog during January, focusing on sharing her approach to the changes that we might be considering at the beginning of the year. She also recommended an excellent audiobook that she was listening to at the beginning of the month, How to Make Changes That Last by Dr. Rangan Chatterjee. I can thoroughly recommend the approach suggested in this book. Yes, it's another self-help book, but more than any that I've come across, it emphasises the fact that we need to be able to look inward and become world experts on ourselves and how we are feeling, both physically and mentally. And I just love any book that provokes me to look at things from a different perspective. I was also watching Pamela's first podcast of the year on her YouTube channel, Ginger Cat Crochet, and I found it so useful to hear her sharing her thoughts on how she was hoping to use her crafting time this year, explaining why she wanted some things to change and how she wanted to encourage herself to think more carefully about whether she wanted to make certain things this year or other crafts that she wanted to spend more time on. I also gather my thoughts by simply taking a blank page of a notebook and writing down anything that comes to mind about how I'm feeling at that very moment, and my feelings about the future, and how I want to fill my time and manage my time to make sure I have that all-important balance. Sometimes I gather thoughts through incidental conversations with my family. The tiniest thing can spark off deeper introspection or a different way of looking at things. For example, I was chatting about New Year's resolutions with my son, saying that I wasn't keen on the concept. And he pointed out that even if you make resolutions that you only keep for a month or two, doing whatever it is that you resolve to do will at least have been done for a short amount of time, which is better than not at all. So that's a good example of a perspective that I hadn't taken before and which made me go away and question my attitude. I concluded that maybe part of my reluctance to set anything in stone is that I don't want to set myself up for failure. Yet a philosophy that I've frequently tried hard to promote here in my podcasts is that it's okay to try something and it doesn't matter if you don't succeed, at least you've had a go. So after all the gathering of my thoughts, what have I concluded? Looking at the general picture, the one overriding message that's come through to me is that I need to take better care of myself. I need to manage my time so that I don't become overtired and overwhelmed. I need to take notice of the advice that I so often hand out to other people, to be kind to myself and to give myself permission to rest. I want to be more mindful of what I eat to ensure I'm in the best possible health, and I want to be mindful of whether I've moved about enough each day and not just sat in one place for too long. More specifically, in terms of the creative part of my life, I want to think more carefully about why I'm creating whatever it is that I choose to make, and not just get carried away with making things because they're cute or fluffy or colourful or whatever. My knitted and crocheted animals do often get rehomed, but there are also quite a lot of woolly friends living in my home, and it can easily get a bit out of hand. I haven't got everything worked out yet, how to fit in all the writing, painting, composing, stop-motion animating, drawing, sewing, embroidering, knitting and crochet and lots more that I want to do. A niggle in the back of my mind keeps reminding me that making podcasts on a weekly basis is taking up many hours of my time, and however much I enjoy the whole process of creating videos, it's not leaving me with as much time to do all of these creative pursuits. I've been making weekly podcasts for over 4 years now, and somehow I've never run out of ideas or things that I want to share with you. But perhaps I do need to free up some hours so that I have a bit more breathing space. And this takes me back to one of the conclusions that I've already come to, that I need to do a better job of looking after myself. I'm going to finish with some words that were shared by Kayleigh from the ShadowsATmidnight YouTube channel, written by Donna Ashworth. For many, January is a hard, cold month. When everyone is setting new goals, laying down righteous ground rules and striving to become a better version of themselves, some of us are fighting to find our feet each day. You see, December is a month of giving, and some of us come January are completely and utterly spent. And before we can even begin the arduous task of clearing away the festivities, we are expected to jump on the New Year, New You bandwagon and transform ourselves entirely. For some of us, this is just too much. For many sensitive souls, the barrage of advice on how we should be living is just too much. So perhaps this is a safe place to say that maybe it's okay to take a week or two or more to recover and just be kind to ourselves before demanding better. So there we are, that's where I am at the moment. So nothing is decided, or I'm still sort of trying to plan out what I'm going to be doing, new projects that I want to start. I have loads and loads of ideas, and it's just sort of trying to put them into some kind of order and deciding what to do next. And of course, I need my craft room to be all sorted before I feel like I can move forward. That's definitely had become a sticking point in me getting on with all these things that I have ideas for. So yeah, so there we go. That's where I am with my thoughts. So I'm going to finish today with a couple of short videos. The first one is, it's all about footsteps. No, I've called it winter sounds actually, but you might know if you've been here lots of times before that I've said before that I love the sound of footsteps when you're outside on different surfaces and when there's not much else happening, not many other sounds around, and you can just hear the sound of your footsteps. I just love it. And I always have done, ever since I was a child, ever since I was a little girl. I remember being really sort of tuned in to the sound of my footsteps. And so when I've been out the last couple of weeks, since we had the snow on the 5th of January, I've just really, really enjoyed listening to the footstep sounds and how they changed as the snow started to melt and then when it froze again. So I hope you're going to enjoy this. There's no music to it at all. It is purely the sounds that are around me, and one or two other sounds apart from footsteps, but that's mostly what it is. And I'm going to follow that straight on with a video which is, well, I would say it is me unapologetically playing with my toys. That's basically what it is. I decided when it snowed, we had a fair bit of snow, that I wanted to take some more pictures of the garden because it was just looking so lovely. And I thought, rather than just purely taking just the garden, I would take some of my knitted birds out with me and have a bit of fun with them. And you still see the snowy garden, but got birds in it as well. So that was fun, and I was a bit silly at times with that. And then the other thing that I decided to do was to take the Woodland choir on a little photo shoot. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the Woodland choir, you need to go back to day 24 of my last Vlogmas, and also the extra little bonus video that I did. I'll put that out the following day. And that was me definitely being really, really silly. I decided that I wanted to make it in as part of the little video that I was doing in Vlogmas. I wanted to make it look as though all the little knitted mice and other animals were singing. So I recorded myself, I think I did about 8 tracks, and I was doing a different voice each time for the things that they were singing, and then stuck them all together again and had this really, really quite, well, it's not meant to be serious, is it? I was just having fun, and I know lots of you saw the fun in it. Anyway, I thought it would be this idea popped in my head that wouldn't it be fun if the Woodland Choir went on a little photo shoot to see if they could get a photo for their first album cover. So I don't really think there's going to be an album. I can't imagine anybody wanting to listen to a whole album full of little mice singing. Anyway, but it was just the idea of going and taking them, finding some nice photos of like little group shots of the Woodland Choir. So that's what they're going to be. And then after I've shown you those, I will come back and say goodbye. So I hope you enjoyed those couple of videos, and I think that's all from me today, this week. I will be back again next week to chat to you, probably from my craft room again, hopefully from a really nice tidy one. And until I see you again, take great care of yourself and keep yourself nice and busy, and I'll be back again very soon. Okay then, bye.